Hi everyone, welcome to the. See, it started already.
Yeah, just enjoy it.
All right, let's do one more time. Hi everyone, welcome to another episode of the A.I.R podcast, where we live, breathe creativity, and we hope to share our experiences to impact everyone. So today we have a really special guest here. We have Henry. How are you today, Henry?
Not too bad. How are you, Winston?
I'm alright. So, a bit of backstory of Henry. I actually met him in my second year of university, and he introduced himself as a weapons master, which is actually one of the coolest jobs, honestly. And yeah, then I found out throughout my years in uni, he's actually like secretly a time traveler, because I've seen him as a knight, as a pirate, and suddenly he does theater and acting. And recently, he did a show that's on Disney Plus, right?
Yeah,
Yeah,
the
pirate.
Disney Plus Tjia one.
Yeah. So yeah, Henry, can you introduce a bit more about yourself, what you do as well?
Yeah, sure. Although I'm going to say weapons master, I don't think I ever use those words, but I will take the compliment. Thank you very much. So I work in theatre and film, doing everything like a lot of fighty work, swordy work, some work with horses, gun stuff, as you were saying. Then I also work as an actor, theatre, film. Some stuff's like short things for kids or shows we do like that. Some stuff's bigger things. Worked on different scales of stuff over the years, which is always good fun. Also written a book.
Really?
Yeah. So that's non-fiction on World War One in the Middle East, but that's another podcast. We'll talk about that another time.
Wow. Okay. Yeah, because that's how I kind of like got to work with you and first met you. Is that one of the films I did was that we had guns involved, and you were like obviously in charge of that.
And then we just kept running into each other.
Yep, that's kind of
Couldn't
how it
escape.
works. But yeah, if you ever want to see what Henry does, I'm gonna just leave some footage of some of Henry's work right now. So yeah, that's a bit of what Henry does. And yeah, all the cool stuff you've been doing weapons wise, like how do you get into that? That's a very interesting like world, especially like specific towards theater, film, and also just doing it in general.
Yeah, it's kind of an interesting one. My journey started, I think, 2008. No, long time. I don't know when people are listening to this, but it feels like a long time ago to me. And that was I actually did a 2-week like course in stage combat at the time, which is I went to Exeter to do that. And then I carried on training. I did some other stuff actually in North Wales, some stuff in Bristol around the place. And I've always been interested in history from a young age, small person. And it's all gone on since then. And I then founded Swashbuckling Cornwall. I can't remember when.
Okay.
The website does say, so maybe we'll have like a little overlay that tells people this.
Yeah, sure. I'll make sure the info's right there.
We'll dub something in. Ideally, that was set up because there wasn't anything going on in Cornwall, particularly around stage fighting for screen, that kind of world.
Okay.
And it's something I wanted to explore, so we started running some workshops, mostly for kids, and developed into more stuff for adults. And over the years, it's grown into being, not just sword fighting, unarmed stuff, work with guns, so contemporary and periods, like the musket stuff we do.
Yeah.
And also horse riding. And every so often, we also run a workshop on an actual ship at sea, which is always good fun.
That's so cool.
It is awesome. It's got to watch. Got lots of sun cream though, because we just burn. Sun cream, very important.
Yeah, because I remember when you were like showing us weapons. That's how I first met you in university. You actually like set up a nice table, show us like all the different weapons, what are the different things. One thing that's interesting is like the definition of a prop and a weapon.
Yeah, and that's a big thing people think about, particularly I think in the UK and other cultures. Weapons are very removed from our society. You know, in the past, historically, weapons are an everyday thing, and trying to give people the idea and understanding. So this one for the university, when I came in, it was about trying to give the students understanding of what was available, all different options, and constraints, most importantly, to make something that would look good on the budgets, on the timescales. Because as we know, a lot of short films don't have that much money to spend
Yes,
often.
yeah.
And, the more high risk stuff you add, the more expensive it normally gets. And I mean everything, from like whether it's a fancy dress sword made of plastic,
Yeah.
whether it's a metal one, whether it's one that's actually made from or for fighting, or whether it's something you bought online from some random factory that is only good to sit on the wall. Do not fight with it because it will smash into 1,000 pieces.
Yeah. Because you said you have like props ones, specifically practice swords as well, and then real ones for actual combat.
Yeah, so it depends what you're doing. Like if you're doing something on stage, you often need something that makes a nice cling, 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 cling sound, because that's where the audio is coming from.
Yeah.
In film, we get away with something like polyurethane or plastic or something else because, as you know, as an editor, you can add a lot of that sound in post, whether it's Foley.
Yeah, yeah.
And often, if you film the real thing, it doesn't sound right. So you have to make it up and make it a different way to sound.
Yeah, it's quite weird. A lot of like action scenes, you see like the sounds that people make in post. It's actually like never as realistic as you like think it is.
Yeah, well, in the film, I mean, big ones, obviously, firearms and guns going off.
Yeah.
Everyone's fired real ones are actually quite loud.
Yeah.
So concept of putting on a silencer is going to make your gun silent. It doesn't
like
do
half
that.
the sword sounds aren't actually like what you will hear in real life anyways.
No, and the sword fighting itself is quite brutal. It's quite it takes a lot of effort, like,
Yeah.
historically. Slugging it out in full armor with somebody, it's a lot of energy, and people do it today in HEMA and like martial arts, and it's like, oh, it's a lot of work.
Yeah, because you actually let me try out to wear a full night outfit. It's really heavy. I think that was like, what, 15 kilos just on chainmail on your body.
Yeah, I mean, the mail's an interesting one because, again, you have different things. So some people prefer only to use real metal, so real links.
Yeah. Some
Some people, like particularly if you're doing opera, it might be knitted, like actual knitted material.
Yeah.
And that's been sprayed. You think about things like Lord of the Rings, when they were doing that, Weta developed their own method of cutting stuff and then hand putting it all together. So it's made of like rubberized plastics and painted. Aluminium. People changing a combination of links. There's all these different tricks you can do to make it lighter but look cool, but also try and keep people safe.
Okay. Any like tricks that you have done, like you can kind of share? In terms of...
I mean, often it's a lot of the time it's trying to talk to the production if we're doing film, whether it's big or small, going, what do you actually want to show? What's the story now? Why? What's the story now? Particularly if it comes to guns, especially, or even sword fights. And how much time do you have? So can we show the sword, flying, cutting through the air, and then add some blood to it in the next shot that looks like we've chopped someone in half?
Okay.
It's probably a good warning for this show. It's like, warning, discussions of.
Yeah.
But that kind of thing, again, with like props and costume, you have things where if someone needs to wear like a full suit of chainmail and you have the time, you just have like the sleeves on it and a skirt. So the torso doesn't have actually any chainmail on it, so it's a bit lighter to wear, a bit more comfortable.
So people can just focus more on performance and not let the costume...
And again, a big thing about any scale of production is you really know, as soon as you put an actor or anyone else in clothes that aren't theirs, things can change, physicality can change, the performance becomes more, they sort of embody the role more.
Yeah.
And that works on any scale. That's not just historical. Like if you're doing a contemporary piece, if you can afford to buy someone a t-shirt for their character that's not theirs, it's a great and quite cheap, easy win normally to get a different type of performance out of that person. Yeah,
because people feel like once you're in different clothes, you're a different character.
Yeah, and it's a great way, but also it's a great way for performers to separate themselves.
Yeah.
John's character wears red t-shirts. Yeah. I don't. Therefore, when I take the red t-shirt off, I'm no longer John.
Yeah, because acting's quite tough. I've heard like when you just get into the zone and you switch off and on all the time consistently, can get like really tiring mentally just to prepare.
Yeah, I think so. I think it's like these things, isn't it? Like just chatting, even though we've got an idea of what we're talking about.
Yeah.
But your mind's going a million miles an hour saying, am I saying everything? What's happening? And it's like that when you come to acting. You've got the words, the universe, your reactions. There's a camera over there. Seems to be, as well as being in the scene, as you might call it, you've got all the other stuff going around you. You've got cables, you've got lights.
Yeah.
The camera's going to move. You might have extras.
Yeah.
You might have the public. You might have a horse.
Mm-hmm.
You've got all these other things to factor in. And if it's an action sequence, even more. And you've got to try and balance all that out as well as embodying who you are in that role. And at the same time be able to have a conversation out. Some people obviously changed it up. Some people like to do method acting. Which has different thoughts and feelings around it.
Yeah, and because like I think Cornwall there's a lot of like short films around. people always like do multiple roles when they're doing a project. So people always have to like think about more or less a bit of everything, isn't it?
Yeah, I mean, it's a great thing about short films. They are a great way of learning and crafting.
Yeah.
And when anyone makes a short film, it's like, yes, you've made a short film. Awesome. You've probably learned something from doing it.
Yep.
I made some in the past that have sucked. And, you got to be honest about that. Even when you're making it, going, this is bad. But you make it through, you do it, you live, you learn, you take those skills forwards.
Yep.
And I was looking at something the other day, and it was great to see, because when I did an MA at Falmouth Uni many years ago now. I know, I forget the dates, okay? It makes me feel young. And when doing that, the kit has changed so much. Like what current students have access to, and I think even on phones now, what people have access to technology-wise to make short-form content, even long-form content, radically changed, like in only a few years.
I mean, there was a film in Cornwall that they just spent a year shooting on just an iPhone, and it like won a few awards as well. Like, kit really doesn't matter, isn't it now?
No, and that's it. It's that creative ability and the willingness to go do things.
Yeah.
And it's so easy for us all to go, and we all do it. I can stay at home and watch TV or something.
Yeah.
And it's even nice to go that. Or I could go for a walk. Or I could spend 10 minutes doing, a project, or I could get involved in something that's happening.
Yeah,
And
sure.
everyone's different. We've got different reasons for things. But when I was teaching at one point smartphone filmmaking.
Oh, really?
Yeah, so I was teaching people who weren't. A lot of that particularly was a funded project via European social funding.
Okay.
And those people involved, that were people who were maybe coming back into the workforce, maybe hadn't been as engaged in technology. So just going through those simple things with them on their phone of how they could be making films. And some of them now make films.
Yeah.
Which is great. It's whether it's for themselves, whether it's to be shown at film festivals or something commercial, doesn't matter. We're really creative people just generally. Everyone's got those stories to tell.
Yep.
So if we give them those basic skills, why not let people
And then now the fact that a phone can actually do so much, like it's so well equipped to like shoot in different like settings and all of that, and you can actually make really good stuff.
Yeah, I think this one here, I don't know, I haven't actually explored the settings, but it's got many lenses.
Yeah.
And like 4K ability to film and all those sorts of things.
Yeah. That's actually really good transition to like the next part, cause for like in terms of personal filmmaking, you're also like one of the few people hosting the Cornwall Monologue Film Festival.
Yeah, so
Cornwall
Monologue.
Mind talking about that. So.
Yeah, the Cornwall Monologue competition, first year we've run it. And the idea behind it is just to give actors a platform to talk effectively, present themselves, but also give filmmakers, writers a platform, poets, anyone who wants to write something and just speak it. And it's really interesting because it's monologues, really old traditional thing if you think about it, and they're kind of fallen out of fashion a bit. But it's something real basic about it to be able to just give a speech. You don't have to know all the words off by heart. You can read them off a sheet of paper out of frame, doesn't matter.
Yeah.
But to be able to tell a story in that way as though you're giving a speech or talking, there's something about it that gives people, it's nice. And in Cornwall, often where we are, there aren't as many opportunities for people to try things and do stuff.
Yeah.
And monologue competitions happen around the world. Some countries have them as live, and they're massive things. So it was like, actually, let's try something. Let's do something new. Give people that opportunity to see what they can do with it.
Yeah, and it's actually really like affordable. It's really accessible, and the rules are like really clear. Like anyone could just shoot off a phone, do whatever they want with it, and then just like send as many as they want.
Yeah, I mean, we try to make it as affordable as we can. There's some overheads to cover, so it has to be an entry fee. Yeah. But yeah, it can be you on your phone in your living room as an entry, or if you're feeling more adventurous, you can go outside and do something. It is about a bit. I think there's an award for like filmmaking.
Yeah, there was.
But it's also going to be much more about the performancing, the writing. So there's all these different categories to look at.
Yeah, most of the awards I saw was like best actor, actresses.
Yeah, well, I think
more like it's very performance based, and then there's like one that's like best filmmaker as well.
Yeah, well, it's going to be an interesting one to judge because we want to try and get this performances working. Yes. And part of it is to showcase that there's talent in Cornwall.
Yes,
it's there, and it's just trying to give people the opportunity to showcase that in some way.
Yeah. Then it's not like anything cool in Cornwall you've done apart from like that pirate film.
So what cool thing? Everything I do is cool. Winston.
I mean, yeah, you do weapons.
Look at me. Everything I do is cool. So what have we done? Story time with Henry.
Whoa.
I know. Are we sitting comfortably? Hope everyone at home is. So obviously you mentioned Pirates Behind the Legends,
Mhm.
which is on Nat Geo Disney. That was cool because we were on ships, climbing, rigging, stuff like that. We did something similar actually for 2 other productions. We did one for Dan Snow on History Hits about weapons at Battle of Trafalgar. And we were actually inside Penzance Harbour for that one on a ship called the Phoenix. That was quite nice. And then we did another one for Discovery Channel, which was another doc drama thing.
Mhm.
And we were sailing all day backwards and forwards in Falmouth Bay on a tall ship. Great fun. Dressed in costume, pistols, swords, that sort of thing. Actually, Rory, who's Blackbeard, was in that one as well. He was Henry Avery, though, in that one, because there's lots of pirate stories about Cornwall, and Henry Avery's supposed to be buried some treasure here.
Oh, really?
So,
Yeah, because Cornwall has a lot of like pirate
yeah,
history.
pirates and smugglers. So we did a lot of things like that. It's all good fun. Weapons on a boat that's moving always interesting. So that's always like, whoa, okay. Oh, watch your footing, or watch the sails. Did something many years ago as an essay in a Netflix show called Frontier, which some people may have seen. We played redcoat soldiers. We were useless. People got murdered in front of us. Things got stolen. We just stood around a lot. But it was very, very cold. But it was nice. We were in like really nice thick wool uniforms, like 3 or 4 layers. But unfortunately, a lot of the cast are like in very like Hessian dresses and stuff like that. It's like, very cold days in Charlestown Harbour filming.
And then you're just there like with the...
We were there quite warm, actually. Although the French-Canadian wardrobe mistress, terrifying lady.
Really? But like that's why it takes to get a big production.
Yeah,
she gets it moving.
It's good fun. There was lots of pizzas ordered as well because catering had gone home.
Really? Wow.
Yeah.
So you were warm, you wore a really cool costume, and you had pizza.
Yeah, although I was sewn into my breeches and my stockings. So stockings are like the long socks, breeches like the knee-length trousers you wear, and sort of things. Because nothing fitted, so my knees kept popping out.
Oh my god.
So I kept getting very cold knees.
Just specifically there.
Specifically knees, yeah.
Oh my gosh. That's actually really interesting. Does Cornwall have a lot of like big shows happening? Because recently they did like the House of Dragons.
Yeah, I think there's a lot coming down to Cornwall. I mean, historically, things like Straw Dogs, Poldark, Doc Martin,
Yep.
have been down this way.
Mm-hmm.
You think of things more recently, Beyond Paradise that films in Loo.
They do. They do.
Yeah, so they film in Loo, which is also controversial because they film in Cornwall, but it's set in Devon. So,
Ooh.
I know that's an interesting one. Charlestown's had loads of stuff. Where Eagles Dare filmed there in the past.
Mm-hmm.
Michael Caine was there.
Mm-hmm.
Three Musketeers are from the Cornwall. There's also so much independent stuff. Like you and me both worked on Pieces of Us.
Yes.
From California Films, and it's really great to see these guys. It's their second feature, and it's independent. It's filmed in Cornwall, filmed in the Southwest.
Yeah.
They're pulling all these local people in to be part of it, different skill levels and stuff. They're doing it, and then you also got Mark Jenkins, who's doing loads of stuff.
Yeah, I think he's also doing a feature film.
They've just finished, from what I hear. So he's out there making different levels of stuff and getting the as a platform, the county sort of getting known for more things, and with the university and also all the colleges doing work. There's a lot of original content coming out of Cornwall.
I think that was the funny part. Like when I come here, like me from Singapore, nobody really heard of Cornwall. But if I talk to anyone in the UK, Cornwall's like, there's a name for it. And I've got the chance to meet a lot of people, and you tell them, oh, I'm from Falmouth in Cornwall. They're like, yes, I've heard of that. Like everyone just seems to know it. You're like, what? It's actually really cool and special. Like so many things are happening. And yeah, the feature films, there's lots more independent stuff. And yeah. How long have you been doing that now, like actively?
I'm not sure. I think over 10 years now.
Over
I think. You still get to a point, you stop counting. It's like lots of things. You get your it's not bad. You get your GCSEs when in the UK when you study, and that's really important. And then you get your A levels, which are really important. You get into university, then that's really important. Like if you're looking at traditional qualifications, and then you sort of. If you start forgetting what you've done, it's a bit the same when you start working. Like, I've been doing it this long. I've done these things. Yeah. And it's a bit like, okay.
Then how do you like keep going? Like, because obviously things keep evolving throughout the years. You've seen so many changes. Anything like you look for to inspire you to keep going? Anything you do yourself to like keep it fresh?
Oh, good question.
Like,
it's really important to think within that is to have that downtime.
Yeah.
And whether that is just on the sofa with a blanket, just chilling, watching TV.
Mm-hmm.
That is as important as like going after that next gig.
Yeah.
And also getting outside, doing walks, all that sort of stuff. But we all know like making your own projects is important to do.
Yeah.
It's often harder. I do a lot of writing as well.
Yeah.
So there's lots of bits and pieces too. I do kids shows, all original work that I write. And yeah, just looking for that next thing and just trying to push. And then coming and doing things like this is always cool because
Yeah.
it motivates you to do something.
Yeah.
Because you're like, oh yeah, cool, I've done this podcast chatting to Winston. It's awesome. But doing that, I mean, it fills you like energy to do something else.
Yeah.
And that's not everyone has the opportunity. Hopefully people, can tune and go, oh, actually, I want to do something.
Yeah, that's why when I try and make this, I try to get as many different people. And of course, if anyone wants to ask questions, feel free to give a shout, see what else you want to listen to. And obviously, I can always follow up with any other questions that you may have as well. Yeah, because especially when you do both theater, all the stuff, acting, and you also do weapons. Do you actually do anything to improve? I know you buy more toys to play with.
Yeah. You can't, let's not talk about my spending habit. We can talk about yours. So we be very careful on that front. We could go down a massive rabbit hole. I will just say, he's got a lot of stuff.
Yeah.
So I've got a lot of stuff too, but he's got a lot of different stuff.
Yeah.
I mean, development is always important, and that can be anything from podcasts, videos. Performance-wise, it can be like going to classes.
Mm-hmm.
So I train with an acting school in London and do regular classes just to keep yourself in, find things. And the big thing about training is it's not about being perfect.
Mm-hmm.
Hell, make those mistakes. It's a safe space to.
Mm-hmm.
And it's the same with filmmaking stuff. Make a mistake. So what? The angle wasn't great.
Mm-hmm.
You missed the
learn
line.
it.
You learn. Yeah, it doesn't matter. You're not working with multi-million-pound stuff here. Just enjoy that ride. With sword stuff, it's the same thing. Just trying to train when you can, explore and develop knowledge. And that's other training that goes out there. And same with the gun stuff and the horses. Just keep going. For me, it's repetition is very important for these things.
Where do you go to learn that? Are there dedicated swordsmen, horse riders specifically just for fighting?
UK. I can only speak about the UK. So in the UK, there's quite a few different places you can learn stage fighting or screen combat.
Mm-hmm.
They'll teach it slightly differently.
Mm-hmm.
Very similar stuff, or based on historical things. But obviously, the big thing is we are trying not to hurt people. Whereas in the real world, combat is designed for to hurt. But if you're looking at a theatre show, you're doing the show again and again and again, and probably more of the show after you've done the fight. You don't want to be dead. The same goes for screen stuff. It's take after take for angle after angle.
Yeah.
So you want to make sure it's all repeatable and safe to do. And whether that's a hero fight or whether that's an extra fight, that doesn't matter. And there's different places that teach that. A lot of them are London-centric because a lot of the industry's there.
Yeah.
Some places tour the country and do stuff. Similarly with things like guns.
Okay.
There's gun law is very strict in the UK.
Okay.
But there are various companies that do weapons training.
Yeah.
Which can include drills about how to handle, how to safely use. And a lot of what we do is about safety. Because we want everyone to have a good time, to look cool.
Yeah.
But be safe doing it, and they can actually look like they know what they're doing.
Okay.
Horse riding, kind of similar. The stables across the country. England's got a lot of people who ride horses.
Yes.
A lot of them are cost prohibitive because horses are quite expensive.
Mm-hmm.
It is, but there are people who do have the opportunity. There's a few riding schools across the country who specialise more so in riding for stage and screen, or mostly for screen, let's be honest.
Mm-hmm.
And they're sort of scattered about the place. But we obviously work with a partner in Cornwall who, actually Jane and Eric, who run that one, actually met on a student film.
Really?
Yeah.
So that's how it kind of works. You just meet people through everything.
I think a lot of the industry works on that kind of you meet people or come across people and go, hi.
Yeah. And then when you start to meet the second or third time, it's that's where you actually talk a lot more, isn't it?
It really is. And also it's that kind of thing. There's time to do it. Anyone who's been on a film sets often knows, very transient. You might work really closely for a few days or weeks. You may never see those people again.
Yeah. And then you just had the best 2 weeks and I'll remember them forever. I just hope they're still doing okay. That's so interesting. Because that's when you actually got to do a bit of courses with me as well. I got to learn musket shooting. Then we went back again to the range to do a bit of weapons movement and a bit of show reel filming.
Yeah,
it's fun.
Yeah, it's always great fun to do these things and give people the opportunity to do them if they can.
Mm-hmm.
And it's also cool because it's sharing culture and heritage with people globally. So it's although it's something very you think of muskets and redcoat soldiers being very British.
Yeah.
The weapons they're using, of course, used across the world.
Yeah.
It's shared culture. Actually, this is an understanding it.
And actually, a lot of things do cross and intersect a lot of places when you see things.
They do, and of course, when it's anything creative, if you look at the amount of, let's say, fantasy
Mhm.
content that's generated, where everything's a melting pot, who the hell knows where something's going to pop up?
That's quite true, actually. That's very interesting. Like, then what's next? What's the next plan? What do you?
Oh, the next plan. Well, if you think, got a few things coming up to shoot, so we're doing a little commercially thing soon, which is going to be part of the BFI's Art of Action program for a local cinema.
Yeah.
It's going to be doing that. Hopefully towards the end of the month, a little short film, quite a fun one as well. So you never know, it might be out soon.
Yeah.
We'll see. And lots of other showreel bits as well for myself, because when you're doing these projects, could do other stuff, but you got to do some of your own things as well.
Yeah. So how often do you do a bit of how much more time do you put to keep developing yourself? Is it like when I have time I'll do it or?
Oh yeah, it's a good question. I mean, I think you go it's when I have time, and then you sort of end up justifying it. So because I work as self-employed,
Yes.
and one of the big things of being self-employed is you can feel a lot of guilt when you're not working, because you don't get things like holiday pay.
Yeah.
You don't get sick pay. So if you're not working, you're not earning. And obviously it's different for everyone. Every different scales of self-employment, different types of jobs, stuff like that. But it's a known thing that, I'm not working, therefore it's bad.
But actually, you do need a downtime.
You do, everyone does. Everyone needs that. And it's really, mental health is really important with all that. And how everyone's going to find out differently how they do that. Some people, it's going to be if you're around people a lot of the time, taking those 10 minutes to yourself.
Mm-hmm.
Some it's going to be if you're working alone a lot, spending time with people. And it's going to be very different as to...
Yeah, and especially in a world of arts, there's a lot of collaboration. So it's either you work with someone or you work for someone, and then suddenly you have to balance it with stuff you also want to do because you want to develop creatively. Is it?
Yeah, well, and it's about everyone's creative development, and it's really important when you're working on, I guess, even smaller things, that you let other people have a voice, and you can have that informed conversation, but also know that if someone says no to an idea, it doesn't mean it's a bad idea. It's just it's not their vision.
Yeah, and people just need to realize clashes aren't a bad thing.
Yeah, and conflict's going to happen, and it's how you can deal with it. It's one of these things where it's about money.
Yeah,
people talking about money. It's a very hard subject for a lot of people to talk about, but sometimes you just have to be very frank about it really early on.
Yeah.
And there are jobs that are unpaid, and you're volunteering your time to make something happen.
Mm-hmm.
It has to. It's part of the world. It's going to have some things can't happen without people giving their time.
Yeah.
Other jobs that have budgets, you need to say, look, is there budget? Can you agree something in advance? Because everyone gets a bit edgy when talking about.
It's a very
money.
sensitive subject.
And I understand it. And there's different ways to do it, depending on the scale of stuff. But being open about it, I think, is most important, because as people, we're willing to often work with people or project with people we like, or on a project that's interesting.
Yeah.
Or with new people, because it's a fun thing to do, or build those connections. But we just need to know where we stand.
Yeah.
Before jumping off that cliff into that project.
Okay. Then speaking of jumping off, anything key points in your career that you'd like to share, in terms of development?
Key points.
Yeah.
Turning
points, anything major that you learned that obviously stick through.
I mean, everything sticks with you, doesn't it? I could say things like my undergrad, my MA.
Yeah.
There's obviously key points of doing stuff.
Yeah.
You've got these qualifications to. After my MA, I actually did a postgrad equivalent of a postgrad diploma in professional production management.
Really?
So you kind of do a lot of stuff like numbers, figure out how to finance things and schedule stuff, that kind of with proper software.
Okay.
It's all good fun. So I did a lot of that. Every project, I think, is a nice milestone that you do. Even if it's a small one where you meet some people and have some fun, or whether it's a bigger one where you're pulling your hair out, going, "Why am I doing this?" And at the end, going, "Whoo, that's finished." Everything's different, and then.
And the thing is, all of them is very different. You can't compare one to one, isn't it?
No, you can't compare one to one, because again, different people involved, different scenarios. The ones that are paying, obviously, are the ones that make you get up at 4 in the morning, and you have to drive somewhere and then be there till who knows when and carry everything,
and then the weather's bad after that.
Yeah, I was actually reminded on Memories on Facebook today. I sent one of those pictures. It's 11 years ago you did this film. It's wow, 11 years. And it reminds me, because we filmed at a place called Rinsey Cove in Cornwall. And Yeah, I was actually sound man on that. I was doing location sound.
Really,
Yeah, I was. It was very strange.
very very different.
Very different life. Had the kit, etc. But to get to the location was climbing down like one of those good old Cornish paths where you like have to scoot most of the way down onto the beach. And you're like, when this kit, you're like, this is ridiculous.
And it's scary because like if anything goes,
Yeah,
wrong,
if anything goes wrong, and then when you're carrying cameras down and stuff like that as well, I'll be like, woo, this is.
And then now you're just doing everything step by step.
Yeah, I mean, one of the other things we did, big learning point, I think, would be commercial music video. I did 2 music videos for this company. Quite large budget. We had synchronized horse riding and some synchronized surfing involved, different videos. And yeah, you learn a lot by doing that. A lot about communication, a lot about like trying to figure out what was needed. Because this particular thing, it was very complicated to figure out how and what was required. It all worked out okay in the end. But yeah, it's one of those things like you learn a lot doing these projects, which help you move forwards.
Yeah, what I find is it's not just like the technical stuff you do, because you'll always be learning that anyways. It's like how you work with people, what you kind of do to just make the project nicer overall.
One top tip for anyone thinking working in it, if you're starting out, or you want to be in production, particularly it's about money again, make sure you find out wherever you're using or hiring from or locations, always check about VAT, and that's on people as well, because that can add 20% to someone's bill.
Yes.
And a lot of people don't or aren't very clear if they're VAT registered or not when you engage in them. They'll give you a price,
okay,
but they won't necessarily tell you it's plus VAT. So that can be a very nasty shock, especially if you're paying lots of money.
And then the 20% just adds on a lot more.
If you think you're spending, let's say, £1,000 on something, another £200 you have to find.
That's true.
So be aware of that as a kind of like top tip.
That's actually very smart, especially if like smaller projects with budget.
Definitely the small projects. It's a lot often venues. If they're venues, will be VAT registered. If you're hiring stuff, they might well be VAT registered. And you won't be able to claim that money back because as a small company, you're unlikely to be VAT registered.
That's quite true. But as the bigger companies, when you hire from,
the bigger ones might well be. So always basically make sure your price includes, or be very clear if you're going to put a fee out saying this is a full and final fee, including any blah, 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 blah.
Okay, that's a good tip. Yeah, and that's more or less what I have here. Do you have anything? Or
I don't know. How are you feeling?
I'm all right.
You're good? You enjoying yourself?
Yeah.
This is going out mid-season, isn't it?
This will probably be like in the middle of season 1, which I've written out. But yeah, I think it's going quite well.
Yeah, you enjoying it?
Yeah.
Have you been a good guest? How am I doing the guest?
Oh, it's fun. Because anyways, like what most people don't know, like I'll still meet Henry out of this episode anyways. So we still chat in general, which is why it's like, oh, it's actually just a nice episode to chat with friends with like a setup now kind of thing. But no, I actually enjoy it. I am like just hoping to try out, like you said, one of those projects where like you just try it out and do it, which is why I'm hoping to like have this podcast.
Yeah, why the hell not?
But yeah, that's it. Do you have any last bits of like inspiring words to share?
I didn't think of any inspiring words.
You're very practical.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know who's like, anyone who's tuning in is going to get something different, I hope, from this.
Yeah.
Like whether it's just me whittering on about projects or whether it's, I mean, I can tell you about, I don't know, the Rosamund Pilcher film starting in Cornwall, obviously. Yeah. So many of those. Or the time The Kid Who Would Be King was filming in Tintagel, and there's no phone signal in Tintagel. And like, I was actually driving a car, so I was like having to move the car from A to B, having like ADs, so assistant directors jumping out of my car telling me, go, 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 to like make the street look alive.
But you have no signal to
you have no signal for phones, so you have ADs with radios going, go, 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 drive. Or and the fact they couldn't close the street off. So like they could hold it for like 5 minutes at a time before the public had to go through. It was just like...
But that's a big issue with like public spaces.
Yeah. I mean, they were helicoptering portaloos up to locations. It was that kind of budget. But it was quite funny just to be on set going, what on earth is happening?
And the thing is, the public will be like, they always like stare into the camera every time when they just drive past. Yeah, so funny.
It's what happens. But, it's great fun.
Yeah.
And ultimately, that's what, we do it for. It's to tell those stories.
Yeah.
Enjoy what we're doing. Otherwise, it's a bit of a weird...
Yeah, and it's fun because you always get to tell people what you're doing. And then they'll be like, oh, good luck. Have fun.
Oh yeah, unless of course it's an NDA, at which point you don't break that.
Yeah.
You don't talk about those things you have NDAs on.
No, that's the very important thing that most people have to like remember. You can always name drop like projects.
Yeah,
you can't always share like
there's always
details.
something. Don't share those details.
Yeah, but that's why like short films are kind of nice. People always love sharing like.
But we all have behind the scenes, don't we? So I'm sure there's some behind the scenes of this. This chat now has kind of gone off, but behind the scenes, people love it because it's something interesting. It's also the bloopers.
Yes.
Blooper reels are always good fun.
Yeah, if only most films have more of those.
Well, might be the whole films be bloopers.
I think that's what they did with like the old because you were talking about action film poly. Like Jackie Chan used to like put his like bloopers of stunts at the end of his credits, and I was like, oh, no one's perfect. But
yeah,
like,
well, I think
people
that's
work for
again. That goes back to the idea that like make mistakes.
yeah,
There's going to be takes that are bad for acting. There's going to be takes that are bad for technical reasons. There's going to be takes because a member of the public is in the background with their dog. Whatever reason, doesn't matter.
yeah. But that's the thing. I guess that's just creative. That you just keep doing it.
Yeah, that's what you got to do. Just keep going.
All right. Yeah. What do you think? Happy with that?
Yeah. Are you happy?
I am. Yeah.
Are you happy?
So yeah, should we close it off the episode?
Yeah. Goodbye.
Perfect. I think let's come to the end of time. Thank you, Henry, for taking the time to talk.
Thanks for having me on.
Yeah, if you have any other questions, please feel free to reach out, comment on it, and I'll follow up through as well. And yeah, see you next time.